Hello and welcome to Digital Culture and Language. Today is a special lecture, the first of a two-part series on memes. So here's what we'll be covering in today's lecture. First, a bit of a definition of what memes actually are. We'll discuss the way that memes draw mainly on references to popular culture. We'll look at the specific type of humour associated with memes, the ludic nature of meme humour. We'll talk about the way memes use language and particularly slang. And I'm going to show a few famous examples of well-known memes and discuss a little bit about the implications as well. So let's get started. What is a meme? Is this a meme? Well, actually, no. This is not quite a meme, technically, if you look at it. What this is a picture with some text on it. A meme is actually something a bit different. So the word meme was first coined by Richard Dawkins in his book, The Selfish Gene, and he refers to them as self-replicating ideas or self-replicating patterns of information. So he's talking about memes as ideas very much in relation to his work on genes. Anyway, so Dawkins' ideas about memes have been kind of picked up, and the word developed in esoteric forums and message boards where participants linked Dawkins' theories of cultural replication to shared in-jokes, catchphrases, and signature texts, according to Milner in his fantastic book, The World Made Meme. If you're studying memes or if you're interested in them, that is the book to get. So this is technically not a meme, as I showed with the previous one as well. Milner refers to them as image macros. So what makes this a meme is the way that it's then used. So this is the meme aspect of it. We see various different iterations of the same idea. So each of these individually is an image macro, and together they form the meme. So meme is a kind of a collective term in that way. And another important aspect of memes is the participation aspect of it. We don't consume memes. We are producers of the memes. We make them and we enjoy them. We produce and we use them at the same time. So there's a participatory element to memes. That's what's important about what makes it a meme. So quite often memes are pre-designed as a kind of like a template with a particular format. So this one, for example, it actually shows you what the meme is for and gives an example here. As you can see from the Keanu face one, it's specifically for humorous conspiracy theories. So they obviously get quite specific. Here's another one, obviously the Drake meme. So the Drake meme is very familiar and has been around for quite some time. So this is kind of a good case in point of the participatory nature of memes. The original image comes from a music video from the Canadian R&B singer Drake. The music video is called Hotline Bling, and he does all kinds of different actions like this. And in 2016, this image was used in various forums like 4chan and so on, and the term became used as Drake posting. So some examples: using a different version of the Drake meme, no. Using the original one because it's the most iconic meme ever. People use these memes to sort of show what's right and what's wrong. and it's obviously being developed into cats as well. So this text comes from knowyourmeme.com, which explains that a user just stuck a cat's head on and used the don't like exploitable, receiving thousands and thousands of retweets. So it really shows, I think, the aspects of digital culture here, the use of remediation, participation, and DIY, as Mark Dewes has pointed out, is one of the key defining elements of digital culture. So we can see that people are when people produce and participate with memes, it's a very, very good example of digital culture in action here with those three defining points. And also there's a lot related to convergence culture as well. The idea that all of these things are kind of happening together simultaneously, converging on one another. Don't know why that happened. Okay. And participatory culture. Obviously, this is, again, a very important defining aspect of what makes these memes. Participatory culture is one with relatively low barriers to artistic expression and civic engagement, strong support for creating and sharing one's creations, and some type of informal mentorship whereby what is known by the most experienced is passed on to novices. It's also one in which members believe their contributions matter and feel some degree of social connection to one another. We see this a lot with memes because they're often shared in online forums. They're obviously very, very current. They're related to things that are happening right now. Memes that are old have a kind of historical importance, but really the funniest ones or the most relevant ones are the ones that are talking about things that are happening now. And of course, memes draw heavily on pop culture, popular culture. English memes tend to be particularly connected to US pop culture. And so if you don't know about that, then you'll have trouble understanding some of the references. However, although it does draw on pop culture, digital culture also has its own celebrities. So, for example, the girl in this picture, this meme is known as Disaster Girl. And it's quite interesting. The woman in this Disaster Girl picture sold the original photo. Her name is Zoe Roth. She's now 21 years old, and she sold the original photo as an NFT, a non-fungible and she sold it for nearly $500,000. So why don't I understand? If you're not familiar with the images or the original reference, you may not fully be able to appreciate the meme. But that doesn't matter, as things are constantly repurposed anyway. So even if you don't know that this is SpongeBob SquarePants, or even if you don't really know who Thanos is, you can still enjoy the meme. But it does help a lot if you have seen the original source materials, which obviously millions of people have because they're part of pop culture. So in my own case, I actually watched all of the Avengers movies simply so that I would understand the references to Thanos, because I was seeing these memes all over, and I kind of had already had the story spoiled for me a little bit, just because of the memes. In order to understand them more, I watched all the Avengers. That's the only reason. They're actually really good films too. So if you don't get it, you're not in the group. You don't belong to that group of people. Another example of memes drawing from pop culture, of course, this is quite an old one. The original Lord of the Rings first film, the Fellowship of the Ring, came out in the year 2001. And in that scene with Sean Bean playing Boromir, he says, "One does not simply walk into Mordor." So this is one of the most sort of enduring memes in history. If you look on knowyourmeme.com, I think it lists it as one of the longest running memes, and it's been running for obviously nearly about 20 years, I think. Here's some more examples, and obviously these examples are not specific only to English. Here's an example. As you can see, the language is not English, so these memes these popular culture are not English language speaking specifically. Anyway, there you go. Just wanted to show a few of those. But the aspect of what makes it a meme is the fact that it's repurposed and reused so many times. Okay, we're now going to talk a little bit about the ludic sense of humor behind memes. This meme actually is quite interesting because it wasn't made by a person, but made by a computer. So part of what characterizes memes is the sense of humor. It tends to be kind of dark, or what you might call ludic. And this is actually, even though it was written by a computer, it's a perfect example of the kind of humor present in memes. So this was written by Image Flip's neural network, which is basically an AI that generated the meme, and you can actually get it generating memes yourself if you visit the Image Flip website. And this is a coronavirus meme. What characterizes the kind of humor on the internet? The internet has, and digital culture is said to have, a specific brand of humor, a kind of ludic, dark, warped, and satirical type of humor. And Dumert actually has an interesting article on why this is the case, what it is that makes the internet have this kind of particular brand of humor. Also, in a book by Ryan Milner, Milner and Phillips, they talk about the ambiguous internet, and again they talk in some detail about the strange sense of humor of that. Okay, so next we'll move on to slang. So, slang is a constantly changing linguistic phenomenon present in every subculture worldwide. So, internet slang, there are many different ways that internet slang might appear. There are letter homophones, punctuations, capitalizations, and other symbols. So the text is actually an important part of the slang, the way it's written, or even the font. Onomatopoeic or stylized spellings, keyboard-generated emoticons and smileys. That's, obviously the emojis have their own language, and they're actually books written in emoji. Moby Dick has been translated into emoji, and it's called Emoji Dick. You also get direct requests and leet, which is sometimes spelt L33T. So that's where you replace some of the letters with numbers, and it's often used to generate stronger passwords, but also it's a form of slang. There are novel syntactic features, so purposefully ungrammatical or strange choice of words is quite a common. Flaming and also Padonkavsky jargon, which is specific to Russian. So these are just some of the examples. Another one would be lol speak, or sometimes known as Chan speak. And on knowyourmeme.com, there's 191 different related entries for these Chan speak. So things like kek or swag, derp, these are words that have meaning within this digital culture context. And they have specific meanings, and not all of them are ones that I want to explain to you right now. So this is the book I was talking about, Ryan Milner and Whitney Phillips and Ryan Milner's book, The Ambivalent Internet. And of course, The World Made Meme, again by Ryan Milner. Excellent books if you want to read up more about this topic. Milner, in his work, has talked about memes as a lingua franca. So obviously, English is a lingua franca. There are many languages that are lingua francas. Arabic is another one. French is another one. But memes can also be seen as the digital franca of the internet. Milner argues that memetic logics and grammar facilitating a rich and complex social vernacular. And he argues that to the collectives conversing through it, this vernacular functions as a lingua franca that facilitates expression and conversation spanning vast geographic and social contexts. In other words, all kinds of people all over the world are able to communicate through memes and share humor, join different sort of online groups, and discuss things and participate together. So just, again, some of the main examples I'm going to show you next about internet slang. We've got these intentional misspellings and ungrammatical expressions, the novel syntactic features. Another aspect of internet slang is that it evolves constantly and at accelerated speed. Another very important aspect is that written or spoken language conventions are merged. So often in writing, it's very clear that this is using written conventions for that genre of writing, whereas in memes and on the internet, the spoken language and the written language, they tend to share many features in common. And use of fonts, punctuation, etc. to add nuance to expressions. I'm just going to show an example of this shortly. So one obviously famous example is LOL, laugh out loud. I have a funny example of that. So when my grandma died, my sister got a text from my nana, my grandma on my mother's side, saying, "Sorry to hear about your grandma, lol." And we quickly realized that my nana obviously thought that lol meant lots of love, which it could mean as well. And I think originally when lol arose, people used it for lots of love as well as laugh out loud, but now obviously it mainly means laugh out loud. So it seemed a little bit of a strange text at the time. Here's another example. Oh, really? So when you say this out loud, it makes sense. Oh, really? But written down here, obviously it's written in a particular way. It's phonetic, but it's not spelled correctly. Another one, so if you've ever seen the famous film Gone with the Wind, you'll know at the very end, Rhett Butler says, "Frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn." One of the most famous quotes from a movie. And that's been translated into modern internet slang, TBH Bay ID Gaff, which means, to be honest, so frankly, my dear, TBH, to be honest. Bay is baby, so dear. And ID gaff, I don't give a f. And obviously that basically translates as, frankly, my dear, I don't give a damn. I thought that was really funny when I saw it. Basically, if you don't get the joke or if you don't understand the slang, then you're not a member of the group that created that. You're not part of the intended audience. So don't feel bad, because you won't ever be able to understand all of these jokes. And in order to do so, you would need to be constantly immersed in that digital culture. And obviously there's more than one, and there are many subcultures within it. Many groups have their own specific memes as well. So if you play a particular game, for example, then you would need to play the game to know why memes about that game are funny. Here's another one showing the importance of the way that the word is, the way that the language is written down actually has its own meaning as well. So in the one at the top, you can't show sarcasm in text, but on the bottom you can see these very different, the use of capitalization in novel ways. This indicates sarcasm. So if you see something written like this, it's supposed to be read in a sarcastic way. You can't show sarcasm in a text. And there's SpongeBob being sarcastic, of course. Another example will be pwned. Pwn is Leet speak slang derived from a misspelling of the verb own. So if you own somebody in a game, it means that you beat them, totally dominated or humiliated them. And pwn was a misspelling of that actually became popular, I think just because it's sort of humorous or whatever. P and O are next to each other on the keyboard, obviously. And yeah, this is a term that's been around for quite a few years. It's specifically a gaming speak piece of slang. And this is another example of the kind of phonetic rendering of the slang. I'm happy. Noob got pwned. Noob refers to someone new to the game, like a newbie. So there you go. Much technology, very cloud. So here's another example of this novel syntactic features. Much technology. Well, technology is not a word that you can use the word much with. You might say many technologies. But again, here's a very syntactic use of the language. And of course that, this one here as well, an example of very specific use of language. It might look like there's, things are misspelled, but they're obviously misspelled on purpose. Okay, so I just want to talk a little bit about one of the most famous memes, the Dodge meme. I think it might have been pronounced doggy at one point, but it's now called Dodge anyway. Dodge even has its own cryptocurrency, the Dodge coin. And my friend actually has some investments in Dogecoin. Yeah, the Dodge is basically just a Shiba Ken dog, and it always has this kind of very cute Comic Sans font and very, very specific use of novel syntactic features, and very strange grammar, very computer, for example. So computer is not an adjective, but in this case it's used as an adjective. Yeah, I think there's often a lot of sarcasm when the Dodge meme is used. In previous classes I showed the Identity Online, and we talked about this On the Internet Nobody Knows You're a Dog cartoon from 1992 and the development of that, and of course now Nobody Knows You're a Dodge. Okay, so I mentioned the references to popular culture, but I also mentioned that sometimes digital culture produces its own celebrities. And this man, Hide the Pain Harold, is a perfect example of that. So Hide the Pain Harold, the meme is usually this man with a pained looking smile, a smile that looks like he's not really happy. And the idea is that he's hiding the pain, smiling through some kind of horror that's happened to his life. So when you're writing your autobiography and plan on killing off the main character, or when you find out your wife survived the car crash, or my face when I check my bank account. Yeah, that's definitely me. When it's April 2nd and your life is still a joke. So there's a video I want to show you of Hide the Pain Harold, and we'll just watch this together now.
I accidentally became a meme, and this is that story. My name is András Arato, but people might know me as Hide the Pain Harold. Before taking stock photos, I was working as an electric engineer. My specialty was lighting technologies. The stock photos began when a photographer contacted me when he saw my selfies on the social media, and he was saying that he was seeking a character like me and invited me to shoot some images. This happened almost 10 years ago. After the first photo shoots, the photographer really liked the pictures, so he invited me back several times. I was, for instance, a doctor, a university professor, a husband, a painter, and many others. I first realized when I had become a meme several months after the first photo shoots. I was curious what my pictures were used for, so I made a reverse image search, and I discovered myself in different advertisements as a professor or a doctor. But some months later, when I repeated that search, I discovered the first meme, and that was the point when I realized that I had become a meme. At first it was horrifying when I encountered the first memes, because there were some really rude or disgusting jokes with me. So I wanted to withdraw all the pictures and close down all the websites that appeared. But that was not a real solution. It took several years till I could accept the situation, but it has brought me several new opportunities. At first, people didn't believe that I'm a real living person. They thought the memes were a kind of Photoshop creation. When I embraced this, I revealed my identity on a Russian social media site. And after that, I can say that all the bad or rude or disgusting memes disappeared. At first, I did not consider myself as famous, but later, more and more people stopped me on the street asking for a selfie. I do this always willingly, because I see the joy in the eyes of these people, and it's so good to make other people happy. I had the opportunity to cooperate with the biggest brands like Coca-Cola. They invited me for a shooting when I had to fly in a wind tunnel. It was very, very exciting. I enjoyed it very much. Now there is a much bigger challenge in sight, a comedy movie about the Hide the Pain story. My management is planning and talking with potential investors. Surprisingly, I get lots of messages each day on my Facebook and Instagram channels from people asking for help in their everyday life. I try to show to my fans that they should be happy even during the difficult times in their lives. And I guess memes can help in these periods to overcome the everyday annoyances. Even though this unexpected event happened, I still consider myself the same old guy, András Arato.
Okay, so there's Hide the Pain Harold, and I think it's an excellent example of somebody making the most out of the situation and embracing the celebrity status. And in the previous lecture, we talked about rejecting that celebrity status with Techno Viking suing the original creator of the video and choosing to remain anonymous despite his celebrity status. So I think that there's different ways to go about it, and I think it's quite interesting to see how András Arato, the Hide the Pain Harold guy, is clearly enjoying his celebrity status, and he's become a celebrity just because of memes. So unlike with the pop culture references, the thing is already famous. In his case, he wasn't famous at all, and he was just a stock stock photography model, of which there are many thousands of them, and they're not famous. Okay, so time to do a little bit of reflection now. We've reached the end of the lecture, so we'll come back and talk about what we think and what we've learned in today's discussion.